Blueprint is the map that can or model that can help you to build a security for your network. For all education, training, implementation, all these things, what is the model that you can consider, which is called as the blueprint for a security model? Information Security Organization. Information Security Organization, and BS stands for British Standard. Hello students, welcome to the next session of Network Security. I am Dr. Soumyashri from Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram College. In the last session, the discussion was all about some of the policies and standards. What is policy? What are the standards that can be drawn from a policy? And the procedures that can be carried out in a internet security or network security. Today, let us know more about these policies, what the kind of policies that can be drawn for a network security or for having a security blueprint. Blueprint is the map that can or model that can help you to build a security for your network. Okay, we will have the concepts of different kinds of policies and what are the different standards that international organizations have set to build a security model for a network. Okay, the first kind of standard policy that was set by various organizations or general international standards security organization is the Enterprise Information Security Policy. Okay, these are the policies that are needed for building a security model for an entire enterprise or for entire organization. Okay, this policy sets the strategic direction. How does the security model must be built? What are the scopes of these security models that can be built? And all the security efforts needed within the organization to maintain or to operate that model. You cannot just put in any security measures in the organization. There are certain models built by the international organizations that can help you to have better security of your data in a network. Okay, since network is communication between two clients or sender or the receiver includes multiple persons, you need to have a standard policy which must be followed to establish a network security. Okay, in this policy, you need to have an executive level document how you are going to implement a security model in your organization, which are drafted by a chief information or internet security officer of the organization. You need to have a person restricted for doing this kind of work, for performing the security of the data. It typically addresses the compliance in two areas. How do you sync between the models of different organizations when they are communicating over the network? They need to have a standard model which are incorporated in both the organizations so that data can be secured over the network. Okay. Next thing you need to consider in EISP is it must ensure the requirements to establish a program, a particular program or software if we are establishing through the network, it must meet the requirements and responsibilities assigned there into various organization components. How do you distribute the responsibility of security. Their security will not be in a single level. There will be multiple levels of security. What kind of level of security will be handled by which kind of person, which person, and what are the responsibilities of that person in that level must also be ensured and must be kept as a document. Along with that, they need to have the specific penalties. If there is any breach of security by a person within the organization or outside the organization, what are the punishments, penalties that will be carried out on that particular person, and what are the various disciplinary actions that can be taken for which kind of breach, whether he has accessed critical data or non-critical data or confidential data, how much layer of data he has accessed, and what is his designation, at what level he is there in the organization. Based on that, what kind of disciplinary action must be taken, what kind of penalty must be incurred on that particular person. All these things must be specified in the policy taken in a enterprise level, which is called as the Enterprise Information Security Policy. So this policy will be taken care in the enterprise level. Okay, next is issue-specific security policy. According to the issue, what kind of data is accessed or what is the issue arised in a security, data security. According to that, you need to have some policies. Okay, it addresses specific areas of the technology. What kind of data I have accessed? Requires frequent updates. You need to update these according to how the softwares and data gets updated. You need to update the policy. What is the restriction of data by a junior engineer? This must be restricted. How much data has been updated? You need to have the updation of the policy also. Okay. Contains statements on organization's position on specific issue. Okay. What is the main policy of the organization? What kind of position the employee is having for in a particular issue. If there is an issue arised in a security, what are the organization's position? In which kind of data it is storing? What kind of level data can be accessed by what kind of employee? What must be the designation of the employee? That must be specified. For this purpose, we have three approaches for creating and managing these policies. One thing is creating number of independent policies documents. First, you have to independently prepare documents for each of the resource you have used or each of the issue that can arise in a security. For all those issues, you need to have separate documents. Along with that, a single comprehensive document of all the policies for all the possible issues. Then create a modular document according to the module. Make a set of issues, make a group of issues on a particular data that can happen and prepare a document for that. You can have three approaches. You can either create independent issues, independent document, or single comprehensive document, or modular level document. You need to have one or the other kind of document which are built over the issues or technology, areas of technology that are used in the organization, whether it is an application software, system software or operating system or database or any critical network path, wherever the breach can happen, anywhere the breach can happen. What must be done should be in a document in one of the form, any one of the form. You need to have all the issues listed and policies related to those issues. Okay. Next comes is the system specific policy. What is this system specific policies all about? These are the policies that are termed as standards and procedures. Why do we need these standards and procedures? Are for configure and maintaining the system. So suppose if you have introduced a bug into the system, it may crash the entire system and all the data may have lost, which are not stored in the server. So you need to have policies for these kind of breaches or problems created for the security of the data. Okay, system specific policies have two kinds. One is access control list. How do you access the system? And configuration rules. Okay, what are these access control list and configuration rules is the Windows and Novel software translate access control list into configuration to control the access. As I have said in the previous slides, what kind of employee, whether he is a tester or analyzer or a planner or what kind of designation the person is having, according to that designation, a person can access only this much or access this much system configurations or system permissions. Permissions will be given only to access this much kind of softwares. You can access only this kind of softwares or this kind of web pages in the internet. All these policies can be built. Okay. What does the access control list will have is, it will allow configuration to restrict access from anyone and anywhere. If I am a person or if I am an employee working in a particular organization, I have worked till June 2020 and I have left the organization. Once I left the organization, the security policy must take care that this person will not be able to access that system of the organization once he left from that organization. If I have left that organization and joined some other or doing some other thing, I must not be able to access this same data from the organization if I am not there. Or if I am outside the organization, if there is any chances of breaching the data by some other person, it must not allow that person to have the access. That is where access control list will have the list of issues that can happen when certain kind of person access a data which is not to be accessed by him. Okay, this specifies the control of access by different persons in the organization. Along with that, we can have configuration rules, which have a specific operation of a system than ACLs. Apart from ACLs, you can have configuration rules. If an employee joins an organization, if you join my organization, what I will do, I'll give you a laptop or I'll give you a system which you can use to work until you are in our organization. I'll not allow, one thing is, I'll have a list, how much software you can access, how much data you can access, I'll have a list of that, which is called as access control list. Another thing is configuration rule. I'll configure the system itself so that you'll not be able to access any unnecessary data or any unnecessary platforms or applications without proper permission by the authorized person. So it is called as the configuration rule. Okay, this must be specified in system specific policy. If they are testers, what kind of softwares and data they can access. If they are developers, what they can access. If they are team leaders or team managers or human resource team, what kind of data they can access. So you need to have configuration rules. So this is called as where many security systems require specific configuration. They'll set the configuration for the system, telling systems what action to perform on each set of information they process. If they are employees going to access any non-accessible data from his system, what does the system must do? So all these rules must be specified in system specific policy. Okay. So these policies will be carried out for the standards. Okay. Next comes is the policy management. How do you manage these policies? These policies will undergo change time to time. You cannot expect the policy established in 2010 to be relevant in 2020 also, because market is changing, world is changing, business is changing, security purpose and security parameters are changing. That means policy will also go on a changing phase according to the changes in the organization. Okay. To remain strong and viable, security policy must have individual responsible for reviews. You must have someone specific for having the review of the policy, whether there is a need to change. If you don't give a responsibility to any person, nobody is going to worry about the change in the policy. They'll continue as they are. So there must be a person who changes or who observes the changes in the market or in organization and review on the current policy which the organization has adopted. And a schedule of reviews. How much time duration are needed to have a review? You can't review day by day. You can have a review by once in 6 months or once in 3 months or once in a year, once in a month, or better is once in having in a 3 months or 6 months. So proper or scheduled reviews of the policies and method for making recommendations for reviews. So if an employee finds that policy needs to be changed according to the changes in the organization, he can recommend to the person who is having the responsibility of reviewing the policy. There must be a method to make the recommendations. So this method must be specified in the policy. Specific policy issuance and revision date. If I have revised a policy today, I must set a duration of 6 months and the date next to the 6 months to have the review once again. So all these policies must be implemented to have updated policies for network security in an organization. Okay. The policies or information can be an important task. So classification of information is an important aspect of the policy. The policies must be classified according to as we have classified different policies. They must be classified what kind of policy you have developed. A clean desk policy. Clean desk policy means not a neat table or a cubicle. The desk policy means you must not leave or data unopened to be viewed by anyone in the employee. Usually companies make the policies that when you are leaving your desk or cubicle, you must turn off or you must lock your system so that unauthorized person will not access the data that is accessed in your system. Or you must not keep the files open, or you must not keep all the files in the desktop so that anyone can get access to that data. You need to have proper security levels like setting a password or pattern or something, having some security measure to maintain your data or secure your data if it is stored in your PC in your working area. You need to have clean desk policy. Your desktop or PC or system that you are using must be clean. At end of the business day, at the end of the day, classified information must be properly stored and secured. If you are developing something or if you are doing something on a critical data, at the end of the day, while you are living from your cubicle or while you are living from your office premises, you must have the data properly stored. It must not only be stored, it must be secured also with certain security policy like setting a password or storing back to the server or anything you can do, but you must secure and properly store the data that you have used and updated before leaving the premises of the organization. Okay. In today's open office environments, it is beneficial to have a clean desk policy, because if you are working from home, a friend of you comes who is working in your organization of competitor organization, he may steal the data that you have not secured or stored somewhere else which is not accessible by your friend. If you leave the friend in front of your system, he may get access to the critical data that need not to be accessed by him. So, policy must be there for this also, that how you can have a data security. May not be in a high level model. You can secure the data by having certain clean measures by individual employees of the organization. Okay. Next is about information security blueprint. So, this is the basis or map for designing, selection and implementation of all the security policies. Blueprint is like a map or a plan which is basis for all these designs and implementations. Education and training programs. For all education, training, implementation, all these things, what is the model that you can consider, which is called as the blueprint for a security model. Okay. So, this can have a detailed version of the security framework. Okay. Apart from that, the blueprint must specify the tasks which must be accomplished or carried out to be realized or to secure your data. What are the tasks you need to do, or what does the particular employee must do will be specified even in a blueprint. Okay. Should also serve as scalable. It must be scalable. That means you need to have a provision of scalability in a security model. If you add one more 1,000 systems, your security model must be able to expand its security to other extra 1,000 systems. It must be upgradable. You must upgrade time to time, and comprehensive plan for information security for future. Not only for today, for future also you need to have a proper plan. How do you increase the, or how do you maintain the security of the data in the future also. Okay. Here we have some of the standards set by international organizations. One is ISO 17799. ISO is Information Security Organization. Information Security Organization, and BS stands for British Standard. So, this was the standard set by British government for organizations in the Britain that have been adopted by ISO and is given the name of ISO 17799. So, ISO stands for Internet Security Organization. BS is British Standard. Okay. This is the most widely used or referenced model by a international organization. So this is a framework for information security that states organizational security policy is needed or enterprise level policy is needed to provide the direction for management, direction and support for the top level management to secure the data. Okay. Apart from that, we have NIST. NIST security models are there. Apart from ISO, we have NIST security models. NIST stands for National Institute of Standards and Technology. This was the organization set up in United States, which preferred some of the models for establishing a security model, where it describes the documents available for computer security, standard policies, where it are stored in resource center of the NIST, like Security Policy 812, Security Policy 814, different versions of the policies and the standards, 18 and 26 and 30. So these are the some of the standard security models or policies that are set by NIST or National Institute of Standards and Technology, established in United States. Okay. Which has the special publication of 814, which specifies that security should be cost effective. It must not have too much investment in security. Owners have security responsibility outside their own organizations. Owners of the organization must take the responsibility of data security outside the organization also. Okay. Security responsibilities and accountability should be made explicit to a single person. A single person must have all the responsibilities and accountabilities for security of the data. Okay. Along with that, you need to have an integrated approach which must be comprehensive according to the organization. It must meet the requirements of the organization needs. Okay. Along with that, security should be periodically reassessed. It has to reassess. What does the policy says? It has to reassess the security time to time, and it must comprehend to societal factors. It must consider the social factors for securing the data. Okay. Along with these main principles, other 33 non-major or minor principles are also pointed out in the NIST policy of Security Policy SP 814. Okay. Apart from these organizations, we have another organization, IETF, which expands for IETF, expanded as Internet Engineering Task Force. So we have another organization which specifies the security architecture for information. Okay. Security Area Working Group acts as an advisory board. They will be having group of advisors as an advisory board for setting the protocols and areas developed and promoted by the Internet Society. What are the different data areas or information security areas that must be answered by different organizations to secure the data? All these things have been set by the IETF. We have the RFC policy set by IETF. It is the handbook that covers the basic areas of security. Like we have said, there are areas of and protocols for security. This handbook covers the 5 basic areas of security with detailed procedures or discussions on how to develop the security system and how to implement the security in that particular system or model. So this is the model or the handbook that are provided by IETF for securing a data in the organization. Apart from these, we have another organization as Visa International, which again have another security model where it promotes strong security measures and security guidelines for having a security for the data. Okay, it has 2 important documents developed by Visa International that improve and regulate the information systems, which regulate the security of the data, which are named as security assessment process, which periodically suggests you to periodically assess the security provided for a data. And next is the agreed upon procedures. What are the standard procedures that you can implement to secure a data? Next is using the documents. How do you use the documents? What can you do by using these documents is you can have a team of security in your organization. They can develop a sound strategy or a plan to secure the data with a good security architecture. You can have a good build of security system in your organization, which are built by a security team. Okay. What are the disadvantages of these models is they are specific to a particular system, or they are specific only to the systems that are using this model. These models cannot be applied to all the systems which follow other security models. They are complied only with the system which uses this particular model. These policies can be used only to that kind of model. This is one of the restriction of Visa International models. Okay. Apart from that, we have necessity of baselining and having a practice, best business practice to have security of the data. Not only model is enough to secure your data, along with the models and standards and policies for securing a data in your organization, you need to have some practices, or you need to inculcate some practices which will help the security model to have more security to your data. What are these best practices and baselines that can be implemented is, these are some of the methods or rules for securing your details or data, where it is possible to gain information by baselining and using the best practices. You need to have best practices, where it was suggested by Federal Agency Security Practices designed to provide the best practices for public agencies. If you are having a public organization, this organization or this federal agency provide you the suggestions of best practices that you can carry out in your organization to have high level of security to your data over the network. Okay. Along with practices, you can have hybrid framework for a blueprint in a security system. So what are the blueprints that you can have is, you can have the detailed analysis of all the documents, standards and web-based information before developing any blueprint. You can have a framework for the blueprint by reading all the previous documents and standards. Here we are offering a introductory blueprint for learning the blueprint development process. How do you provide, or how you can develop a blueprint? Okay, here we have the standard by NIST, which is standard security policy 826 version 26. What are the key points that can be used for creating a blueprint is, management controls covers security processes. Management is responsible for having a security process designed by the strategic planners. They must take the help of strategic planners and it must be implemented by security administration. The top management is responsible for implementing or planning a security for the data. With the help of strategic planners, they must have a plan and it must be implemented by security administration. Next is, operational controls have to deal with functionality of the security. Operational deals must be decided again by the top management. How the security must function in an organization with what kind of employees. Apart from operational controls, they must have technical controls. That means they have to address the tactical and the technical issues related to the designing and implementing security in the organization. Who are responsible is the top management, the strategic planners and the security administration. These three teams are responsible for designing and implementing and maintaining the security in the organization. So these are some of the policies suggested by the security policy 826. Next is defense in depth. How do you defend the data or secure the data is implementation of security in layers. So you have to implement the security in different layers, not the single. Different layers you have to use. Apart from that, it requires that organization will establish enough security control and safeguards so that intruder or attacker will face problem in accessing the data, like having the firewalls or antivirus softwares or theft controlling softwares. All those security walls and measures must be taken care by the strategic planners and the administrators. Apart from that, security perimeter. What does the security perimeter will suggest is point at which an organization's security protection ends and the outside world begins. Till how much the data can be secured. What is the border or threshold of security in the organization and what data can be accessed from outside the organization. So this threshold must be fixed in the design of security architecture. Okay. All these security things or features does not apply to internal attacks. If another employee from the same organization access to the data, you cannot have any control over that. Okay. On-site physical threats. You can't control that. But you need to have the strategies even for these kind of attacks. You must be able to tackle who has accessed that critical data, who is unauthorized to access that data. You must take measures to recover the data from the attacked person or attacked system. Okay. What are the key technology components you can have to protect your data in the organization is, one is having the firewall. So firewall is the device that discriminates the information flowing into or out of the organization. Firewall will restrict which kind of data can go outside organization or which kind of data can come into the organization system or organization's server. Okay. So firewall will be like a wall. Why do you have a wall to your houses? Wall and door is, it will restrict from outside. Anyone can breach into your house. If you have a wall to your house and door, what the wall will do is, what is the purpose of wall is to restrict anyone from outside coming into your house, and anybody, if there is if there is a kid, he will not be able to go outside without your notice. So firewall also have the same purpose of restricting data movement into the organization or from organization to the outside. Next is demilitarized zone. You can have no man's land between inside and outside networks where some organization plays web servers. What is the zone? What is the area where server is located, restricting others from accessing that area? Demilitarized zone. Then intrusion detection system. You can have systems, tools for detecting the intrusion by outsiders, which may be within the network or individual machines, organization or outside the organization. Okay. Using different IDs, systems will be used to get access or get notified about the unauthorized access of the data using intrusion detection system. Okay. For implementing all those things is one part of organization or one part of responsibility of the organization to secure the data. Another responsibility lies is with the employees of the organization or general persons in the organization who can have some role in securing the data. How they can secure the data is by having an educational training or awareness or practices that can secure your data. Okay. As you have general policy for securing the data, in parallel, you can have some security education, training or awareness to the general employees of the organization, which will work along with the security model, which increases the security in the organization. Okay. This education awareness and programs will control the accidental security breaches in the organization. If I know what kind of data I can access, whether a particular data I can send outside data organization or it must be within the organization, I will be more vigilant or I will be more aware about the data which I must have to secure. Okay. Security education and training among the employees will help secure their data with less effort. Okay. This program consists of 3 elements, like one is security education, security training and security awareness. Education, training and awareness. So, SETA, security education, training and awareness. This work in parallel with the implemented security model. In security education, everyone in organization must have a training and aware of the security policy organization have included. For this, every person do not need a formal degree or certificate in security. They can have a proper training from the team which is handling security, who can train general employees how to secure a data within the organization. If a formal education is needed, if you think that the person's job responsibility is critical for securing the data, you can provide a formal education for those individuals. The curriculum for that particular person or individual can be identified by the security persons or team of security in the organization, which will be available by local institutions who are local to the organization city, or you can have a distance education who will provide a certificate for that person to have a proper security training. Okay. For this, a number of universities and websites and other organizations have a course for providing training for this kind of security. Okay. Next, you can have security training. It involves providing members of the organizations with detailed information and hand-on instruction. You can provide a manual-like instruction to members of the organization to how to store the data and what are their duties to secure a data in the organization. Apart from that, management of information security can have a customized in-house training or outsource the training program. Instead of sending each person to have a training or a certificate in security, information security, you can call somebody from outside to train all your employees about the security measures they can take to secure their data in the organization. Okay. Last thing is security awareness. One of less frequently implemented is the awareness about the security. Least frequently used, but which is most beneficial. Awareness is not having any training, but giving some certain points to secure the data. Designed to keep information security at the forefront of users' minds, like securing your data, locking your folders or saving your folders with some passwords, setting some passwords. These are some of the awareness that can be given to the general employees. Need not be complicated or expensive. You need not to have a proper training for that. You can have a general instructions which can be given to each of the employee, and you can tell them that they have to follow this without fail. Okay. If the program is not properly implemented or actively implemented, they'll don't care about the policies and the standards set by the organization, and they can have accidental breach of the data in their system using the network. Okay. So this is all about the basic things of how you can secure the data in the organization. Okay. Thank you.